Do you envision a family for yourself in the future?
You know, I wanted to, and still do, have aspirations of having a family. I feel like I do possess a good fatherly type of qualities and such, and still some old-fashioned qualities in terms of, you know, having a family and stuff. And I've seen some really, I guess, discouraging things along the way, as one can imagine, in terms of the business. But I'm not going to let that, I guess, stand in my way of a dream.
Sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Have you become, you get a good cross section of human nature. You observe human nature in a way that a lot of people don't, because we operate in this industry and sex is a currency. Do you feel that having seen that has made you maybe more guarded when it comes to going into a relationship with a woman in the future?
Yes, in terms of seeing that cross section of
human nature.
Of human nature, yeah, it's reared its ugly face in some capacity. My God, it's like, geez, am I better served? Am I really truly better served just being a lone, I've been blessed. I've been married twice, had some real relationships, had them in and out of the business. It's better to have loved than lost, and I've never loved at all. But boy, I've seen some works of art in terms of what is coming out of this person's mouth. What kind of behavior is this? This is just unbelievable. And I think you and I, we come from a different time when, chivalry, opening the door, concern for your woman, protecting and stuff. And I still feel that all entirely. But now it's like, youth is wasted on the young. My God, some of these, there's the entitlement of, the world owes me something just by me being sexy and a hot girl or even young. And then the young guys, you hear, it's funny you hear a lot of this stuff from the girls. I haven't had a door opened ever for me. You're hanging out with the wrong people. It's just, and then I look and I see
the roles, the masculine and feminine roles have been a little bit bleached out because of feminism and because of this socialist mindset that's really gripped the nation as a whole, where everybody feels, like you said, entitled, and the gender roles are being crossed. So a lot of these girls, they come in, they look like, we'll call them urban. They're more urban influenced. Sure. And there's nothing feminine about the way they dress. They dress for comfort, so to speak. They're coming in.
And the dialogue and the verbiage that comes out of their mouth.
You think they're rappers.
I feel like, what on earth? Is there anyone who holds anything sacred anymore in the way they conduct themselves, and they're like so classy and so, or is it just like burping and fuck me and whatever, call me and it's so turned off.
Well, the women that were in adult when I was watching in the 80s and in the 90s, they were the epitome of objectified femininity. So it's the heels and the dress and the big hair and the makeup,
classy and
if you weren't intelligent or street smart, or you were kind of frowned upon, or you were laughed at or pointed at. It's like, you're kind of dumb. You don't know who the Secretary of State is, or the president, or the capital of the capital of Des Moines.
Sure, right.
That's a joke.
Of course, Des Moines is a capital.
That's the capital of Des Moines. But now it's like this the lowest common denominator is worshipped, and along with it, the context of the sex has changed, so that It's about humiliation and degradation, and not about worshiping a beautifully well put together, sophisticated woman. It's just, oh, this girl is just barely 18 and she wants to be defiled.
And just disgraced. And
Yeah.
and the fact that she's cool with it makes her even cool. Like she's cool. Like she's cool to take.
I had 10 guys come on my face. Isn't that great?
Aren't I the coolest?
Yeah.
No, it's the most terrible thing ever, actually.
If you had children, and would you?
If I had children and they said, I want to do what you did, Daddy, I would say, you're out of your fucking mind.
But what was good for you isn't good for them.
I know, it's total hypocritical, whatever, but do as I say, not as I do. I can say from my experiences, I have earned enough to say I disagree with what you want to do because I did that. If I hadn't, how could I say no to you? I want to try drugs, Daddy. Absolutely not. I did them, and nothing but bad came from them. I'm not saying nothing but bad comes from pornography or adult, but
the downside is bigger than the upside.
the downside is bigger than the upside. And I don't want to say, I heard somebody say recently, you failed as a parent if your child gets into pornography.
That's a bold statement. So that means your parents failed, is what they're saying.
Well, potentially.
And if your children got into porn, would you
Would I
think of yourself
fail?
as a failure?
But you know what? You see, I feel like in some capacity, and I don't want to say, oh, there's, I want to play this the other way. I'm a guy, and I was nearly 40 years old when I made the decision to get into porn. So if I may, I'd like to exclude my parents from that decision making because I was old enough to be a parent.
And you lived an adult life prior to.
I lived an adult life prior to that. Nowadays, if your kid's coming out of high school doing pornography and adult,
It's a failure.
it's you.
Parenting. You think it's a failure of the school system, a failure of the parenting?
It's it may be. Look again, where tragically people don't want to speak the truth because by virtue of that, then. But sometimes at some point, you should and you have to. I feel like it's my duty in some capacity to say that there's so many other options, man.
You think
if you were more
people
in
are cutting themselves, they're selling themselves short. If a girl is getting into adult right out of high school, a guy is getting into adult fairly young.
Yes.
They're not exploring the
This
world.
is my open advice to anyone pursuing this business. My thoughts are, and because I did it, okay, I got into this business later. I lived, my innocence was gone before I got in. I had it and it was lost by being in it. I was older. I was 36 years old. That's the under 40 years old. I'm not saying wait that long, but live your life, exhaust, if you want to, all these other options. And if you decide, adult, I'd like to try that last. I'm not saying when you're whatever, because look, let's not kid you, girls will say, oh, you got to use it while you got it, right? Use that beautiful, such and such while you got it. I don't know, it's a very touchy situation. I'm sure I'll get a little whatever for my views on it, but okay. I believe that the age requirement to get into the adult business should be raised from 18 to 21.
Why?
Well, look, a year ain't very long, but 2 of them is longer than 1, and 3 is longer than 2 and 1. So between 18 and 21, maybe you can learn a little more something, have a little more experience, a little more based upon your own physical body and learn yourself and decide if you should do it or if it's a good idea or not. You're still a baby at 18 and at 21 even still. Let's not kid each other. But
I mean, do you think it's odd that you've got to be 21 to drink, but you can be 18 and
show your body and do
stuff that's going to be around
forever? Yeah.
You drink a beer under 21, nobody's going to fucking know.
Right.
Get drunk so somebody forgets. You do porn, it's around forever.
Yeah.
So why this? Why is it like that?
Why is it one?
Why has it been allowed? You would think that the people that are against pornography would at least pick a battle and go, well, raise the age requirement.
At least.
So our daughters aren't coming out of high school and doing that.
Right.
Why is that disparity?
No idea. Why is that disparity? Well, because then if you do that, then you don't have the I'm only 18 scenario, which people in one respect will say, oh, that's terrible, but in the other respect, when the doors close, be like, yeah, that's awesome. It's such a who knows? I mean, as a human,
should the age be lowered the other way?
Should it be lowered? Like, whatever the age, let it be
16.
Lowered.
In certain states.
Is it
16 is
is considered consenting.
Consenting, yeah.
Who knows? I mean, I think the reality of it is before you and I were meeting like this 200 years ago, it was entirely okay to go to be with a girl who was 14 or whatever. Who knows? Strange.
Yeah,
How did I make it okay in my head that there was an inherent risk in this business? I guess the same way I thought that there was inherent risk of riding a street bike, an inherent risk of riding a dirt bike and doing BMX tricks and jumping up a quarter pipe and going out 20 feet in the air and landing and doing all this crazy shit. It comes with the territory. Unfortunately, I guess we could stay home and lock ourselves in our nice, comfortable room and peek out the window every so often and think we're safe. But what kind of life is that?
Do you think the industry as a whole has done a good job, an excellent job in maintaining a certain level of safety for what we can do for the performers?
Well, I think the business has done a good job in terms of providing a safe environment for the performers to be in and such? Is that right?
Well, yeah, but if you incorporate the question in your answer, I think that
I think the business. Okay. I think the business has. Well, do I think it has, or?
Well, what do you, in your mind, what would be the state of the industry?
Well, I mean,
protecting performers' health, safety.
Well, from my experience, has the business provided a safe place for the performers? Well, for the 10 years that I've been in the business, prior to all the moratoriums we've experienced now, I mean, I recall there was some numbers done by all the scenes, by virtue of the scenes shot in X amount of years. They accumulated to a specific amount. Do you remember that? Some of those demographics, I think there was, and they had one incident out of 250,000.
Yeah.
Am I correct when I say that?
Yeah.
Am I accurate
Yes.
in that respect?
Well, I don't know what the numbers, but out of the percentage was like 1/100th of a percent.
Sure.
When you look at all the scenes and all the performers.
Right. Ever produced in X amount of years and blah, blah, blah. So, I think we could always be safer in no matter what we do. But then again, what does that include? Testing every day? I think it comes down to the individual. I think I have a duty as an individual. I'm not going to go off and have some promiscuous sex with some very questionable activity or something, and then the following day come in and because I have a good test.
You had a good test a week ago.
I had a good test a week ago, and I still do, but what I did off to the sidelines and in my own time doesn't fly because nobody's privy of that. That's not that would be very professional and unethical, I would think, in some capacity. It would be like.
Well, for a number of years, the business only required a blood test every 30 days.
Yeah,
now
it's
once every 2 weeks.
It's every 14 days, which I think is a good. I think it's better now, every 2 weeks.
You think they should have done that years before?
Yeah, that probably wouldn't have been a bad idea.
They've also started including hepatitis C.
Hepatitis C. That's also a good. Thing to include in the testing. Again, I mean, if it's
Lyme
time,
disease.
That's new to me. I wasn't aware of that. But again, if it's we made it this far, right? Who can say what? You know, I could leave this interview and go out there and the plane would crash into my car. I don't know. I mean, that's very possible. The likelihood of it, the probability of it, but so I think we do a good job again, I think it boils down to with the organizations doing the testing and then the individuals in the business, myself, yourself, the girls, I think they need to be a little more responsible collectively as an individual. Would I moonlight at Chernobyl on the weekends? And then come here. Oh, sorry. Would I moonlight as a worker at Chernobyl at some radioactive place, and then come here and knowingly that I'm directly to radiation, and then come in? That wouldn't be.
I don't know if you would irradiate other people.
I don't know, but I'm using that as a kind of a parallel. You know.
That's a bad analogy.
Yeah, bad analogy. Hi, why am I glowing? I have no idea.
You watch too many Simpsons.
Yeah. I think at the in closing, I guess in that particular, as us as individuals, I think we should behave. Or we're
so you're saying there's a personal responsibility?
Yeah, there's a personal responsibility.
That's inherent.
That's inherent.
Being a professional person.
Be professional. Don't go off and jump into a 10-guy fucking, free for all. Unprotected, and think you're cool and coming in the following morning and working with somebody else, and that's not a good thing.
Well,
then we don't know what's happening in everyday life out there. When's the last time somebody that we knew or somebody that we don't know has been tested out there? Some people are like, yeah, I haven't been tested in years.
Some people have never been tested at all.
Never been tested at all.
It's crazy. What's your initial reaction when there is a moratorium or a work stoppage because a test has come back dirty? We call it dirty, and there needs to be a retest to make sure that's what it is. What's your initial reaction? Is it concern for the performer? Is it you pissed because you're losing money? Is it I hope it's not somebody I know and friends with? I mean, do you immediately think it's
some
HIV?
questionable behavior? Do I think it's that? What's my initial response when I hear of a moratorium?
It's very hard for people to get it through heterosexual sex.
Right.
Vaginally.
You could have sex with 10 girls who have it and not contract anything. What is my response? I think it's mixed, It's like, oh my God, what now? Sorry, but that's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I hope it's not too close to home, because that would be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, I have a heart. I hope it's someone that's, I hope it's not, it's bad all the way around. It's like, then I go, oh boy, ain't that just wonderful? How much money I'll lose because it's reality. Let's not kid each other. So.
But the reality is that somebody who else accepted the risk, their number came up.
Yeah. But what were they doing? Trying to make money?
Hustling on the side?
Hustling on the side? Potentially. I think it's more often now.
Maybe their boyfriend or their girlfriend cheated on them with somebody else and brought it into the house.
Again, It's tough to put a finger on that one. So.
Let's,
But you know what? A day will come when I work at a place and I'll hear about a moratorium on the news, and it won't affect me because I'll be heading into work that following day, having a normal job, hopefully supporting a normal job, a relationship, right? Maybe expecting a child, for lack of a better word.
And what would your thoughts be when you see that on the news?
I'm glad it's not me anymore. Hope everyone's safe. What can I do at this point? Right? Think about that. If every time a construction worker got hurt in America and they shut every construction site down across the world, across the country, nothing would ever get done. Right? It's strange. You know what? I actually have. Because of my work schedule, I experienced difficulty to get home, visit holidays, death of a member. Yeah, I've experienced that before.
How does it make you feel?
Well, I would experience the same thing, similar if I had another type of job, so I can't say. But then by the same token, you know, the business has provided me with opportunities to do other things that I couldn't do had I had another job. So,
is there pressure on the male performers to do scenes like anal DPs, where we call them double penetrations, are called DPs, gangbangs, interracial or dom sub scenes, anything that's not really in your wheelhouse? Is there pressure from people, from directors or companies, like, hey, do this, come on?
Nah, I don't think I've ever had that. I don't think I've ever had pressure to do anything that I wasn't comfortable with. Or earlier in my career, I wanted to be a very well-rounded performer. So when the day came and they said, hey, have you ever done a DP? I never have. So you know what? I might say, who's the guy? Oh, Johnny. Johnny and I are cool. It'll be just like hanging out with some girl. No problem.
Okay, so I've had somebody, Joe Rogan asked me this.
Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan asked me this one time, and he's like, how can you be fucking another chick and have another dude's dick like
this far away,
4 centimeters from you? You can feel the guy's dick in the other orifice.
Sure.
How can you do that and stay hard? And I was like, I don't know, man. Because to him, he's like, that's like, isn't that like gay shit? But people ask that, like, how. I've explained it. I wrote it in the best way I could in my first book.
Okay.
Why it was why I could do it, why it was a turn on, maybe.
Sure.
But I'd like to hear it from somebody else's mouth. Like, why is it like that's the reality. That's the physicality of.
Well, I guess I guess. There's a number of stances on it, of which one could be, oh my God, fuck, that's never going to happen, I can't do that. Or, you have an open mind and you say, well, obviously, it's possible, and I've seen it before, and, I do have a level of professionalism, and I'm willing to try it. And yeah, all right, there is a little too close for comfort type scenario, but I know my sexuality, and, if this is what really turns this girl on, and she really is turned on by it, assuming that all the players involved are into it, so to speak. It's not. Again, I figured, let me try it, see how I felt about it. Wasn't. It's not something that I would say I only want to do. You know what I'm saying? I only do DPs. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's all. But you know what? Like I said, for me,
people would look at you very strange.
Yeah.
I only want to do penetration.
That's it.
I want to be the anchor.
That's it. That's all I want. Like I said, I consider it a bit of a challenge in some capacity. Boy, girl, fine, did that. DP, Never did that. I know my sexuality. If the girl's really digging it, and like I said, if it's like a friend, yeah, man, whatever. If it's like some dude I never met and it's weird, like, why is he looking at me while I'm trying to hide behind the girl and he's staring at me, that would be weird. You know, and that's why I always was like, hey, who's the guy? Oh, Johnny, he's cool, we're like friends, blah, blah, blah. It'll be like some college scenario. Yeah, all right, let's try it.
Because that happened in college for you.
No, but I can imagine how it would feel if we had it in college.
What do you think are the biggest myths? What do you laugh at when you hear the myths about the porn industry? Like, what are the biggest ones you hear?
The biggest myths are every guy has a gigantic dick, or has to have one, right? It's got to be a functional dick, functioning penis, right? I guess bigger's better, but there's always a bad side to bigger, because if it's a bigger, unfunctioning penis, it's just more to look at failing. It's like, yeah, there's an elephant in the room. There's a huge elephant in the room that's not working or something. I don't know. What's another myth? Everyone's on drugs, and we have gangbangs for the weekends, just parties and shit. Or, you know.
But we've been to parties where there was sex and drugs.
Sure.
It just doesn't happen as often.
It doesn't happen as often, and it's not, you know. What are some of the other biggest myths? I don't know. What are they? What are some of the other bigger myths in the business? It's a tough one.
Is there?
I always try to just have an open mind and not try to not establish a specific place where I came from, if you will. I've always been a pretty rational person and open to just okay.
Is there racism in adult?
There might be, I guess. It may be misconstrued or whatever. I think it's preference. If a girl doesn't prefer to work with a black guy, is that racial or is it a preference? I don't know. Is that kind of a, you know, like I never had sex with a black girl until I got into the business.
But on your profile, I wouldn't say he does interracial. But on a girl's profile, it does. Right. So there's a distinction.
It's a specific distinction.
Yeah, it's not like I won't work with Asian guys. I won't work with
interracial, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying.
Technically.
I won't work with Indian guys.
Right.
You never hear, I don't work with Latinos.
Right.
But
there's a distinction.
There's a distinction between interracial. So that begs the question.
Is there racism?
Is there racism in the industry?
Maybe, I guess, in some capacity.
Racism. Name a lead actor, performer who is the lead in movies who's black.
Who's the lead in movies? I would say Lexington Steele is a predominant black performer who's, I'm sure, been a lead in the movie. No?
Features?
Sure, why not? Feature.
Okay.
I'm sure there's been a company who's done a feature where he's been the lead black guy. No.
Who else?
Who are the other black performers? Shawn Michaels, prominent performer, who's probably sought after in terms of a lead. I don't follow it, so I couldn't tell you.
In the way that Eddie Murphy is kind of cross-marketable in a way, that hasn't happened in the adult industry. Where somebody is just a funny, good-looking guy that can really act, and he happens to be black, and so he's in the lead in features for the bigger companies.
Yeah, I don't know. I think in adult it's more specified, maybe, if you want to call it that. There's more attention put on it versus, hey, let's make a big movie. But Shawn Michaels just so happens to be the lead black guy, just out of the blue. But now, so you're saying in that capacity, it wouldn't just be like viewed at that. It would be, let's label it, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe there is racism in the business. I don't know.
Do you think that the business sells a lifestyle to viewers, like a promiscuous, sex without consequences lifestyle?
Yeah, in some respect, I think it's fantasy, if you will. I mean, that the business would encourage. Oh, this is what this is the type of lifestyle you could have, or if you just throw your hands up to I think so.
You think so?
I don't know. I mean, I never looked at it like that.
Well, people copy what they see.
Yeah.
So
I think a number of forms of entertainment sell that. Like Fast and the Furious. Are they selling a lifestyle? Sure. They're trying to say, hey, these are how these people live. Pulling up to a fucking speeding train and stealing cars off of it. That's pretty outlandish, if you ask me. Is that really possible? Possibly.
So you think the adult industry sells a lifestyle where every encounter with a female could possibly lead to a sexual interaction?
It's fantasy, right? Did we try to sell fantasy? I don't know. You got me on that one.